Hi everyone, welcome to video 6. Today I'm going to teach you how to create a decorative edge, and we're going to create it on a pocket, but you can put it on the edge of a page, you can put it on the edge of a flap, you can use it on photo mats. Really, this is how you do it for any shape, any piece that you want to do. So I'm going to show you going back to my original project. We had made the pockets where you have a cutout. That's what we worked on in the last class, and what we're going to do in this class is this type of pocket here where we put a decorative edge. These are very simple decorative edges, but you can get as complicated as you desire, and maybe I'll do some more complicated ones down the way, but I just wanted to let you get a feel for what we're doing today. So we had created 2 cut files. The first one was kind of our base file where we created all of our basic shapes, and I suggested you save that somewhere because that can be a template so you can do this project over and over, but you can change the shapes of your flaps, the shapes of your pockets, the kind of pockets you use. The next time I do this project, I might want to put a window in this pocket here. This pocket, I may actually want to make it taller or layer a pocket on top of it. So this gives me my base to start from. And then these are the pockets that we created for our specific project this time. And now we're going to work with this longer pocket. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of that so that we can start adding our decorative edge. And then I often find that my score lines, as you know, I don't actually create them for my projects, but since I created them to show you in case you wanted them, the first thing I do is I just move them out of the way. We'll align them and put them back later. And let's start with our diamond-shaped edge. So I'm going to come to my drawing tool. I'm going to select rectangle, and I'm going to hold my shift key down, and that way I get a square. Okay. Then I'm going to take that square and I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees. And I'm going to bring it down and kind of more or less place it in the center. It doesn't have to be exact because I'm going to take that square. I'm going to take my pocket, and the pocket you're going to cut, not your matting piece. I'm going to go into my transform tool, and I'm going to align these vertically and center that. Okay. Now I want to make sure that it is centered horizontally as well. So you want to zoom way in, click off here. I want these points to line up right with my pocket edge. So I'm going to bring that down. Okay. Now I have to think about what size I want this to be. Okay, I think on this one, maybe I'll just put 3 on. So I kind of lucked out, and that's a good size. Okay, sorry, I did that a little fast. Let me back up. When I'm doing decorative edges, I just kind of play with my sizing. They don't have to be exact. Like here, I just ended up with 1.697, but I visually like it. If I don't want it to poke up that high, I can either make my triangle smaller that I'm going to be adding, or I could choose not to center it and have it off center, but I'm going to center mine, and I am probably I'm just going to leave that size because there's lots of room in this project to have space for the edge on this pocket. So I want to have a cutout in mind. So we're going to use this transform some more. So I'm going to move it over here. Did you know if you grab up on the top of your tool menu, you can move it over to the side so you can have more than one tool open. Now I'm going to go into my offset I'm going to do an internal offset. And you can make this again any size you want. I don't like to go much smaller than 1/4 of an inch when I'm putting something inside of another. It just makes it easier to cut. But I'm going to put a whole 1/2 inch, and the reason is I want a good amount here for matting. If it's really narrow, like 1/8 of an inch, then I wouldn't mat at all. I would mat only up to this point, and I would have this be really narrow. In fact, tell you what, let's copy this over and we'll talk about that and play with this in a minute. So I have, oh, I'm just looking if I lost, nope, they're still here. I tend to lose and accidentally delete score lines. So this is my shape. I want to put one to the left. I want to put one to the left and one to the right. So let's grab both of those shapes. I'm going to hold my command button down. I'm going to hit my, and a control button if it's on a Mac. I mean a PC. Let me do that again. It's a command button on a Mac, a control button on a PC. And I'm going to hit my right arrow key. Then I'm going to select them again. I'm going to hit my left arrow key. Okay, now that's all nice and centered on my pocket. I need to do both my matting piece and my pocket. So we want to take these pieces, I want to copy them and put them on top. Okay, so let's start with the pocket. I want to take my 3 outside squares and I want to make them a compound path. So we want Command E or Control E. And why do I want to make them a compound path? The reason that I want to do that is because I'm going to weld it to my pocket. If I try to weld multiple shapes, it has the potential, well, I'll show you what happens. Let's take this and let's bring this down here. Okay? If I don't make them a compound path and I select multiple shapes to weld, watch what happens. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. I sometimes get funny results. That's cool. Glad to know. So, hey, learn something every day, even me. Let's take the side of the pocket. We're going to take our 3 triangles at the top and we're going to go to our modify and we're going to weld. Now, after we've welded, we want to pick up our 3 inside squares and we want to create a compound path. So again, Command E or Control E if you're on a PC. Okay. Now I'm going to move that to the side or up so you can see there's your pocket piece. That's what you're going to cut out of your cardstock to create your pocket. Now I have this little project left to work with. I want to create the same shape because this will be the outer edge of what we will be matting. So let's weld those. And then we're going to select everything and we're going to create a compound path. All right, now we got to put this whole thing together. So we're going to select our cardstock piece, our matting piece, and our score lines. We've done this before. We're going to go to our transform tool. We're going to center all of that. And then we are going to align them to the top. Okay, now you'll notice when you do that, the score lines get kind of funny because they align to the top of our diamonds. All you have to do is grab that, grab your matting piece, and align it to the bottom. Now your score lines are right where you need them to be. Okay, let me show you a couple things that you can do as an option. I'm going to get rid of the mat and whoops. There's a bug that every once in a while it draws lines when you don't want to do that. I'm going to get rid of my matting piece and my score lines because I just want to show you a few things. Okay, well actually I'll tell you what. Let's leave your matting piece so you can see that black line represents what your pocket will look like when you fold the flaps in. Okay? If you pick both shapes plus the pocket, so if you pick your inside and your outside all at the same time and you go to weld them, you lose that center piece. And the reason you lose that center piece is, I'm going to hit undo, because this piece is enclosed totally within these two pieces. When it welds, it disappears. If you make this a compound path, let's see what happens. Okay, so now you have that compound path and you weld them. Okay, look what you get. You get a totally different shape. You just get that triangular piece. And that's perfectly acceptable. In fact, I quite often will do that. Let me show you. Let's put a copy to the left. Let's put a copy to the right. Let's select all of our shapes and weld. You get a totally different shape. And the reason that you get that is because I made this a compound path. Silhouette doesn't look at this as two objects anymore. Remember when they were separate or just grouped together? I had a big square and a little square, and they were kind of stacked up on top of each other. Soon as I made it a compound path, I now have essentially a square donut. I have this piece, but it has a hole cut out like the letter P or the letter B. So you get, by grouping or making it a compound path, you get a totally different look. I don't care which one you do. But I just wanted to show you that. Okay? One other thing I wanted to show you that you can do is you certainly could come in here, and if you make this smaller, let's take this and align it in the middle and bring it up so it's hitting right on that line. Let me zoom in. Yeah, pretty close. Okay. You could choose to have more run across your pocket. And you may ask me, how do I get rid of, I like having 5, but look at how they take up the corner of this pocket. I don't, that's not going to work, because when I go to fold, I'm going to have this weird piece that hangs out here. And you are. I mean, you certainly can weld it and have that cut into where you score, but then your score has to run all the way across there. A cleaner, easier way to do it is to go ahead and cut off that little piece. And here's how you do that. Okay, this is kind of a bonus lesson. Come in here, draw a nice long rectangle. We're going to come in here and size it. And what I care about the most is I want it to be exactly a 1/2 inch wide. And the reason I want that is because that's the width of my flap here. Okay? And I'm going to change the color on this to green just so you can see it easier what we're doing. I'm going to take that. I'm going to make a copy on top. So Command or Control C, Command or Control F, and then I'm going to move that copy off. Okay? Let's take that copy and my red pocket edge, and I'm going to align that to the far right. I'm then going to take this one against my pocket and I'm going to align it to the far left. Now if you zoom in, you'll notice that that green rectangle sits right where I need to crop that shape. So I'm going to pick that outside square, or it doesn't matter that it's a compound path, and my green rectangle. I'm going to go into my modify panel, and I'm going to do what we did last time. I'm going to subtract. And see what happens when you subtract it? It cuts that off. And we're going to go here and go here, and I'm going to subtract. Okay, now I can come in here, and let's say I want the full triangles. I want this whole opening, but I want the 5. That just means you have to come in here. You have to break the group. No, I don't even have them grouped. Do I have them grouped? Oh, break the compound path. Okay, you can come in here, break the compound path, and then I'm going to select, just like we did before, all 5 of my outer rectangles. Grab that pocket, and I'm going to weld that. I'm now going to take that weld. I'm going to grab all 5 of those, and I'm going to create a compound path. And now you'll notice I have one that's just like this one, except I have 5 points, and it's flat right there. And the reason that it's flat is right there is where that score line is going to be. Okay? Let's do all of that again. I actually I'll keep this one. I actually liked the 5 better, but we'll keep this for now. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it with circles. And I'm going to, again, we'll do the circles, and then I'm going to teach you something kind of different. Okay, so we're going to go to our draw tool. We're going to draw a circle. And I'm going to just do a little math here because I want something to work out. Okay, that's 7.875. So if I want my circles to run all the way across, and I want 5 of them, I can take 7.875 and divide that by 5. And each of my circles need to be 1.575. So I can just come in here, and I can make my circle. If I lock it, it'll change the other one automatically. 575. See? And hit apply. Okay, and now let's go ahead and create an internal offset. I'm going to set this, I think 5 half might be too much. Oh, no, it'll cut that. Okay. So there's my circle. I'm going to go ahead and group or make that a compound path. I'm going to bring it down here. I'm going to select my pocket. I'm going to center it. I'm now going to zoom in. I've now centered it vertically. Now I want to bring this down. Whoops. Didn't mean to move the pocket, did I? So we'll click off here, grab just the circle. And again, those white squares, if I bring them down and get them centered on my line, I have my centered circle. Okay? I'm going to, again, take a copy and move it to the side because I want to show you something else. Bonus lessons all over the place today. I'm going to take my circle. I'm going to use Command or Control with my arrow and put my copies. And Command and Control. And if I zoom in, I am right where I'm going to score. Pretty cool, huh? Math can be your friend. Now we're going to do exactly what we did before. I'm going to take these circles. I'm going to put a copy on top. We're going to, again, I'm just going to take my score lines out because they just get in the way. I am going to pick my 5. Actually, I can do this. It's faster. I can just, yeah, I cannot go in and do a grab because if I do a grab, I'm grabbing the copy on top and the copy on the bottom. So Hold down your Shift key and select each one and your pocket. And we're going to go to our Modify and Weld. Okay, let's drag that down and see what we have. Now, I'm okay with that. I'm going to go ahead and leave the scallop on this one. Remember, if you don't want the scallop, we'll talk about that in a minute, but if you don't want the scallop, I'm going to back up a bit. Let's copy that to the side. I'm going to go ahead and keep the scallop. I kind of like it. You take your pocket, and the reason that you're getting that is because I left these circles as a compound path. So when I weld it, it treats it like one piece, and so it cuts like the whole donut across there. All right, we're going to do the same thing here. Weld, bring that piece down. I select all three of these pieces now. We'll center them. We'll bring them to the top. And then I want to deselect. If you hold down Shift and click on the red, it'll keep the other two selected, and you deselected the red line. And you go to the bottom. Pretty handy hint, huh? And I kind of like that, so I will keep that one. Okay? So now I have my two fancy edged pockets. Now what I wanted to show you, we did this once, but I'm going to show it again. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to break that compound path. So again, Command and Shift E on a Mac, or Control Shift E on a PC, or you can always right click, come down here, and it'll do it, but I don't have a path. So let me recreate a compound path. Now when you right click it, you can undo a compound path. The other way you can undo a compound path is you can go to Object and you can release compound path. So there's lots of ways to do it. Okay? Now if I release the compound path and I pick my pocket and just my circles and I weld, then I get the pocket that I had in my original project. Okay? So it's really important, if you want that line to vivisect what you're doing, you want to make it a compound path. If you want to keep that complete 100% hole cut out, you need to make sure you don't have compound paths on your outer circle and inner circle before you combine them. Okay? Now let me show you something else in another tool. Let's say I don't want all my circles on top of each other. I want one in the center, and then I want one out just a little bit and the other one out just a little bit, okay? And let's say that we're going to make this shape, I want it smaller. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and make it smaller. In fact, I'm going to come in here and make it 1.25. That way the center would still cut okay. Okay. Again, I want to start, well, I don't even have to do that. Let's at least get in here and let's align it at least horizontally. Now you'll notice that one's not aligned, but that's okay. I'm going to copy it. Let's copy it to the right. Let's just make a couple copies to the right, okay? And I want a total of five circles on here. So we'll copy a couple on the left. But I don't want them touching each other like this. Instead, I want the first one to start here. I want the last one to end at the edge of my pocket. And then I want them all evenly spaced. How on earth do you do that? Really easy. Here's how you do it. You pick the one that you want to be on your very edge of your pocket. So you select that piece and you select your matting box. Go to your alignment in the transform tool and align those. Then you're going to come over here and you're going to pick the one here. You're going to pick the one on the right. You're going to align them to the right. Okay? Now, silhouette will evenly space those 5. If you select all 5, you come down here, see where it says spacing? Hit horizontal. Pretty cool. What it did was it said, okay, I have one here, and I'm going to space the other 3 evenly. What that allows you to do, okay, I'm going to copy this so we can do 2 things with it. What that allows you to do is you now can take that in your pocket, and when you weld, you get a totally different shape. You have those spaces in between, okay? Or, again, if you break the compound path and you pick just your circles and your pocket and you weld them, then you have to go back and you grab all those circles and you make that a compound path. You now get that shape. Okay? And let's compare that to what I actually created. I spaced those pockets. Okay, so here I sized them so they went edge to edge. Here I did the half. Here I did them all with a little space in between. So look at playing with the same shapes, all the different looks that you can get. Okay, I'm going to take these out of here because I'm going to close all my windows, all my tools. Now I have all of my pockets shaped how I want them shaped. And I'm not really loving that one, but that's okay. I just wanted you to get the idea. So that's how you make decorative pockets. You want to then make sure you save your file and save it right there. And I'm going to replace that because I want to add my other new pockets. And what we'll do in the next lesson is I'm going to talk about how I organize this for cutting. And the lesson after that, we're going to start bringing our pattern paper in and we're going to start working with our matting. Thanks for watching, and I will try to get the next ones up much quicker this time. Thank you. Bye-bye.